Namaskar and welcome to this exciting new episode of Sathology Debunking Mythology. We're going to talk about some calendars because calendars, it is always a part of the history where the rulers determine their calendars. Just to give you an example, the British standardized GMT, Greenwich Meridian Time, because of some king of Britain. He wanted his hometown to be the basis of time all over the world. And it has been continuing all over the world. Some people call it Gregorian calendar. So you can find out Gregory means a king's name, Gregory, King Gregory. And the Gregorian calendar has continued. And because of the expanse of British kingdom, British monarchy, the whole calendar got accepted. Now, nobody knows that the origins of calendar came from India because of movement of sun, movement of moon, and there have been Vikram Samvat is going on. There was many other Samvats, Shaka Samvat. Every single dynasty had their own Samvat, which means calendars. And so today we have a very special guest. You heard her last time, Deepali Patwadkar, and she is going to share with us something about the calendars. Welcome, Deepali ji.
Namaste, and I'm glad to be back here on this channel. Thank you.
Thank you. Most welcome. So, Deepali ji, what do you want to say about calendars? What is the history of calendars?
Yeah, this is a very interesting part. Like, if things have been still, nothing changes, then time doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Like, everything will be standstill. We wouldn't want to know anything at all. But the thing is that if there is a change, so there is day and then there is night, and then a day follows night and night follows day. So there is this circle. This is a continuous sequence of things that are happening. It's not just that. There are also different natural rhythms that we see in the nature. So there is winter, and then spring follows winter. There is summer, and then there is again autumn and winter. So this cycle, there is this natural cycle. And because of these changes, what we feel is there is time is flowing. This is why we think that time is flowing. And because of this, the ancient men, they started counting time, they started measuring time, and they came up with various ways to count the time. So they found they could just mark the days. Every sunrise they would mark it on some stone, or what they could do is they could uh, watch the phases of moon, and based on that they could tell, oh, this is a full moon day, or this is the no moon day, or this is the eighth day after the full moon, second day after the full moon. So they would measure time based on the phases of moon. Then they could also just keep on counting the seasons. So someone could actually say, like, this is the third spring season since something happened, or this is the fourth spring season, or they could tell that I am 40 spring seasons old, or that's another way to count time, another way to measure time. The Egyptians, they used to measure the time based on the floods of Nile River. So the Nile River used to get flooded every summer. So their time measurement was based on the flood levels of Nile. So that was another way to measure time. And then there is a time based on sun. We notice that the sun rises at a different position on each day of the year. So based on the position of sun, based on the position of sunrise, time could be time could be measured. So these were different ways to measure time. And the cultures, they used all these different ways to measure time and to come up with different calendars. So this is what we see in cultures. The cultures, they have this variety, they have this huge variety in measuring time. And when we speak of variety, you know what happens? There is diversity, there is a healthy competition between different calendars, and people have choices, people have options. They can choose to follow this calendar or that calendar based upon their likes. And in the end, what would happen is those calendars which do not have errors, those calendars which run with the nature, those get selected. And it's like, the best or the good calendars win. This is what we see in cultures. Whereas in religion, we see exactly opposite. There are calendars, but those calendars are like, the imposed calendars, the one and only one calendar. There is no choice. And common people like us, we then have to simply follow those calendars. So the Gregorian calendar, as you said, Aditya, that is the a religious calendar because Gregory was a pope, and that is a religious. It's a Christian calendar, and all over the world we simply follow that one single calendar. We don't have a choice. Today we don't have a choice. Like, if I want to measure time based on moon, based on the phases of moon, or if I want to measure the time based on the position, the relative position of Jupiter, I can't do that. So that's the difference between what we see in culture and religion.
So, so according to you, the cultural calendar makes more sense than a religiously imposed calendar. Is that what you're saying?
Actually, a cultural calendar is very scientific. It bases itself on the positions of celestial bodies. So it is based on position of moon, it's based on position of sun, it's based on position of stars, on the position of constellations, it's based on planets. Basically, I could there are some ways to measure time based on the position of Jupiter. So like Jupiter takes 12 years to go through all the signs of zodiac. So I could actually base my time measurement on where Jupiter is. So I would be able to tell, like, okay, 12 years are done. Or there is another way to measure time, which is based on the movement of Saturn and Jupiter together. So that comes out to 60 years, somewhere around 60 years. So there is a 60-year cycle that we see in the Indic culture. And in this 60-year cycle, every year has a name. So current year, it is called as Sharvari. It's a Sharvari Nama Samvatsare. So somebody could measure their age based on this 60-year cycle. So if somebody is born in a year called Sharvari, by the next time when the year Sharvari comes up again, he will say, like, I'm 60-year-old. So these calendars that we see in cultures, these are very scientific based calendars. They have their basis, they have their foundation, and it's on the precise movement of these celestial bodies.
So the Western world has daylight saving time and daylight saving time off, and where the calendars get thrown by 1 hour, 1 hour before. In summers, they shift the calendars back, hours back, so the daytime is more, sun time is more. So ultimately, to accommodate more sunlight, the calendars are shifted, and it is based on GMT because GMT is the standard which is used. And in UK, we know sunlight is very scarce. Only 48 days or 50 days in a year is a clear sunlight. The rest of the time is not clear over there. So, do you think that that is just a dogma which has been attached to the calendars?
That is a way to use the sunlight. And in the earlier times, the cultural way to measure time was based only on the length of the day. So during the summers, the hours would be long. So hours wouldn't be like, like today we have 1 hour is 60 minutes and every hour is uniform. That wasn't the case. So they would have longer hours in summer and shorter hours in winter. So it automatically gave people, longer days in during summer and shorter days during winter.
There is a very detailed time calculation in Puran and other Vedas. So, ek ghadi is one ghadi is 24 minutes approximately, and two ghadi is 48 minutes, and one muhurta is two ghadi. That is the calculation we have. And you are absolutely right. The the time was in smaller measurements, so it was more accurate. Like it is mentioned that Yudhishthir stayed in Narak for two ghadi.
Mhm.
Two ghadi means 48 minutes only, and then he saw everything and came back. Uh, but today the uh, normally we say ghadi means 1 hour. Where in India they call it ghadi as 1 hour, and in the Western world, it's amazing that most of the scientific experiments have to prove within 20 to 25 minutes. In
Mhm.
So it's again a ghadi concept there, but unknowingly.
Yeah.
And so if it doesn't produce a result in 24 minutes, that means that experiment has to be stopped and then redone. But subconsciously, human mind always comes back to the old Vedic concepts of calculation of time. Like 1/6 of a second is Tisarenu, and Tisarenu when he moves, then एक क्षण, one क्षण is 6 Tisarenu, and you can correct me there.
Mhm.
So now with this, this is a calculation of a granular time, which can we can call it atomic time, and people were more aware of that, and they don't need a clock for that. They can see the movement of sun and the particles of sun movement. So with the imposition of these type of calendars like Gregorian calendar, all that science is actually made people dumber than before.
Yeah.
So now we have to invent eye watches and other things to just maintain our time. What is your view on that?
Absolutely. Yeah, you literally pinpointed the problem with the way we use Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar, as I said, it's a religious calendar, and this calendar is not based on celestial events. This calendar is based on religious events, like it is related to the birth of prophet. So it starts with that, and basically what happened when the religious calendars were created was they simply hijacked the cultural calendar. So this Gregorian calendar is basically a Roman calendar, which was earlier Egyptian calendar. So it is a hijacked calendar. That is one thing. And second thing, what was imposed in this calendar was it was given a religious name. So we speak about, like, it is a Julian calendar or it is a Gregorian calendar, and it gets an era. So it starts with the birth of Jesus Christ. So it is called as Anno Domini. So that is the year of the Lord. Or if we look at the Islamic calendar, that calendar also starts with the migration of Prophet from Mecca to Medina. So these calendars, they are based on an event which happened in the life of a human somewhere on the earth. So what happens is, if a person say, like, we are stranded on some island somewhere and we don't have any mobile or any kind of devices with us, we will not be able to tell what day it is,
Hmm.
because these calendars, they have taken us away from nature. So we cannot look at the sky and tell, oh, okay, today is 15th September. We can't do that. But when we look at the cultural calendars, these cultural calendars, they are based on moon, they are based on sun, they are lunisolar calendars, and they are based on the position of moon in the various constellations. So if somebody is stranded on an island, he can simply look at the sky and he can say, okay, today is the eighth day after full moon, and since the full moon was in a particular constellation, this is the month of Kartik. If the moon had been in the Kritika, the month would be Kartik. So one can, be just one doesn't have to have any device in his hand to know what day it is. What calendar actually does is it gives a name to the day, it gives a name to the time. So we can do this just by looking at the constellation, looking at the divine bodies in the sky, and we can tell the day, the name of the day, and we can also tell the time of the day. So when, if we follow any cultural calendar, we will be able to do that.
Great point. And it brings to my mind about the fertility season or the season for sowing the seeds. Usually, all
Yeah.
cultures. And farmers are one of the best people to tell you sometimes in any part of the world, because they are
Yes.
connected with the land, and when you are connected with the land, automatically you have more goodness. Whether it's an American farmer or an Indian farmer, you can relate to them. It's a because so they sow their seeds in Vasant Panchami, when the sun is rising in India.
Mhm.
In
Mhm.
Africa, same thing, same process goes in. Their new year starts on when the sun becomes hot, and that's where they celebrate New
Yeah.
Year. In UK, Stonehenge is an excellent example that the prehistorical, pre-Christian history of UK was a very dharmic one, because they had Stonehenge in Salisbury, near Salisbury, where they can calculate the movement of the moon, and based on that they grow their crops. And all the, we see a lot of videos, I don't know whether they're fake or not, but they see very good markings on the fields over there in UK. Suddenly they appear. And so again, it starts on when the sun becomes hot. So all these cultural calendars, and you gave very nice name to it, cultural calendars, because these are actually based on the land over there and the customs they have. In Hungary, the same thing. In Brazil, again, the crops are sown, and that's the new year for the native Brazilians. So so and this information has been suppressed by the colonialists. I call them faith-based colonialists. They've suppressed them, and the result is that we have an artificial civilization which celebrates New Year on December 31st, when it's the dead of the cold season. Now you can't even move out in New York. It's so freezing cold over there. So where have we missed as a society?
This is such a deep question, like what went wrong?
What
Why?
went wrong where?
Yeah, why we are following something which we cannot connect to?
Correct.
Yeah. So I think it is because of this exclusiveness which is there in this Western thought, that there has to be one and only one, either God, either philosophy, either book, or a calendar. So I think this basic philosophy, this foundation, that everything has to be one and only one, that might be the issue. Because if people were given the freedom to choose a calendar, there would have been many more calendars. And all these calendars, of course, they are cultural, because men, human, they started counting days as far back as they started speaking, as far back as language was invented. So they have been doing this for a long time. And religions, if we look at them, they are pretty recent. So they are like 2000 years old, not more than that. And what when a cultural calendar is replaced by a religious calendar, what has happened is the wisdom that the culture had gained over thousands of years, that wisdom has been denied its place. So I think that's the issue, where we deny the wisdom of a culture.
No, you said it very correctly, that the exclusivity destroys the heterogeneous nature of the human society. Uh,
Yeah.
by nature, humans are designed to think differently. Every human being is unique. We can clone somebody, but we cannot produce the same person. And even the
Mm.
cloning has failed. The goats still have different characteristics. So uh, so exclusivity, I think, so do you think that, so there's a very common saying: if I control your time, I control the money, and I control you. Was that a
Mhm.
colonial side of the whole thing? Because if they have to spread the message of homogeneity and exclusivity, they have to control you through some way, and time is the most important thing they can control.
You have brought up such a wonderful thought over here, Aditya ji. The if we go back in the Indian cultural calendar, what we see is the Indic calendar. It is a luni solar calendar. So we are counting the days based on the phases of moon, and then we are synchronizing the lunar calendar with the solar calendar by adding some leap months. Instead of a leap day, we add a leap month. So in that calendar, every full moon and new moon was a holy day. So HOLY, it was a holy day. Because it was a holy day because so many things are celebrated on a full moon day or on a new moon day. Like for example, Guru Purnima. So that is the day when the teachers are celebrated. Or there is the Vata Purnima, when the trees are celebrated, trees are worshipped. Or there is the Rakhi Purnima, where the brothers and sisters, the relation between a brother and sister, that is celebrated. So we see this is not, nothing of this is related to a religion. This is just a cultural celebration. It's a celebration of colors, it's a celebration of uh, relationships, and it's celebration of nature. So this is, these celebrations, they are on full moon day and even on the new moon day. Now what happened is, when the British came to India, they imposed the new calendar. So the old calendar, the cultural calendar, went away, and the new Gregorian calendar came into place. And then instead of holy days, what we had was holidays, and these holiday was Sunday. Now again, the Sunday is a religious celebration, because Sunday is it comes from the biblical thought that the God created the world on 6 days, and on the seventh day he took rest, and that seventh day is the Sunday. So what we got, instead of holy days, we got holidays. And today we don't have time, we don't have free time to celebrate the all these festivals that we have, all these cultural festivals that we have. So by controlling the calendar, culture was suppressed. So this happened not only in India, but this happened also in Europe, because the Europeans, the Romans, and all the other people of Europe, they had their own holy days, but then those were cancelled because the cultural calendars went away, and what came into being was a Gregorian calendar, and then there was only Sunday, which was a holiday.
If you
So
look at
by
it,
controlling the time, by controlling the calendars, they could really rule various cultures.
the most human rights abuses have been done historically in Europe throughout the history.
Yeah.
And even when Europe was in their diapers, India was running a very successful and very highly educated civilization. Now, in Europe, the atrocities by the nobles and the upper class, and that's why the caste word comes from Europe, because they wanted to control the peasants, which was considered very low. And in India, or Bharatvarsh, or current India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all these are parts of that original culture of Arya. There, the farmers were more important. And origin, even from the point of view of kings, like I can tell you about Yudhishthir, for him, farmers were the people that he focused most to take care of them. So peasants were actually taken care in a big way, whereas in Europe, peasants were exploited from the day one, and women were treated like objects. And when you have such kind of civilization where artificially created, when you look at the history of Marco Polo and St. Peter's, you'll be just ashamed that these are the people that we are worth studying also, and Europeans. And somehow America was in 1700s, when they got independence from Britain, they threw away all those things out, including the driving style also. When the British were driving right, they chose left. That much against they went against British. And and they created their own currencies and everything, but still somewhere that ideology crept in. The festivals crept in, the European influence crept in. And when they gave the citizenship to the Native Americans in 1924, Native Americans were not citizens of United States. I mean, they were the natives here, but not given citizenship. Such was the level of exploitation. They destroyed Native American calendars and any rituals they followed, which was completely based on nature, and portrayed them as beasts or backward Indians. The word Indian is in British common
The Red
history
Indian.
is known as a peasant. Indian is known as a peasant, like George. George is a
Mhm.
peasant and the person of the earth. So that much discrimination has been done. So they took away the calendars of the natives and gave them their own calendar, which only talked about their exclusive faith. So on calendars they controlled, on eating habits they controlled. They called wine as the blood of Christ. They controlled over there. No, every single aspect they removed. What was their insecurity according to you? Why did they do that?
It's amazing. One really cannot tell what could be the reason behind this. Is it like, is it because they were afraid of competition? Is it because they thought, like, they might not be able to survive if something better came up? Maybe they knew that their foundation was weak. Maybe they knew that there was no material in that philosophy. Probably that could be the reason that they could not, tolerate differences. And even tolerate is a word which is not a very respectable word.
Well,
Tolerate is like, I will tolerate your existence. Who am I to tolerate your existence? I can, respect your existence. I can adore your existence. But what is tolerate? Tolerate is uh, I'm nobody to tolerate tolerate things like this. So
tolerate actually means I hate you, but I'll still live by you because I
yeah,
can't
yeah,
remove you.
yeah.
That's
Just
exactly the
like,
tolerance. When they talk about tolerance, I think the Sanskrit word Sahishunata is far more important. Sahishunata means that you find a common ground and you try to uh, to find some commonality, and then you try to accentuate that commonality, and then you live accordingly. That is far different than tolerate. Tolerate means I hate you, but since I can't kill you now, I'll keep you here.
I let you live.
I actually live. No, you said a
Yeah,
good point there because respect is more important than tolerance. And
yeah.
yes, you're saying something.
Yeah, there was another thing that you mentioned. It was about the agricultural society, farmers, that farmers were important. And when we are speaking about calendars, those are driven by farmers actually, because the farmers, they have to do the sowing of the seeds at a particular time of the year. And this time is the particular season which goes by the sun. So all these societies, all the cultures which had agriculture, they had very good calendars. So we see, like, all the people who lived in the Fertile Crescent, all the people who lived in India, all the people who lived in even Greece, whoever were doing farming, they had very good calendars. Even the Mayans, their agriculture was also dependent on seasons. So all the cultures which did agriculture, they had very good calendars. They had developed very good calendars. And these calendars, even if the Gregorian calendar is also a solar calendar which is based on the sun, and all these other calendars which are necessary for the agriculture, which go by the seasons, these calendars are a bit different. And for agriculture, for farmers, the Gregorian calendar is of no help. What they need is a local cultural agricultural calendar which goes by the seasons. So if we want the farmers to prosper, they must use the local cultural calendar.
No, even the farmers don't follow what Gregory ever said because they go by the sun movement. Even if it is the case, they. I lived in West Virginia for a long time, and I know it snows heavily for almost six months. Is very cold. So farmers, the moment the sun becomes hot, they start sowing. So it's they don't follow. If they were following Gregory, everybody will be hungry in the planet. So even in India, we have
Yeah.
Pongal, we have Ugadi, we have so many other festivals which start at a proper time. If they were to follow Gregory, then they would be sowing their seeds when actually the season is over. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even as you mentioned these festivals, when we look at the events in a cultural calendar, what we see is that all these events they are celebrating different events of the year. So, like, they will be celebrating the arrival of spring. For example, the Parsi Navroz. So, all the Persians they were celebrating the coming of spring. So, 21st March, which is the equinox. So, they are celebrating spring, and then we have celebrations of autumn, we have celebrations of winter, and then there is the celebration of Uttarayan. So that is when the sun comes back to the north. So that is celebrated worldwide. And even the longest night is a celebration. So we see the Persians, they celebrate Shabe Yalda. So that is the celebration of the longest and the darkest night of the year. So all these things where uh, the things in the nature they are celebrated. So these are not religious things. It is just like, I am alive and the nature is alive, and this something is happening in nature and I'm going to celebrate it. That is what a cultural calendar is. It has nothing to do with human, it has nothing to do with events that have happened in some human's life. It doesn't care that somebody became a king or somebody was born or somebody died. So all these things are for a religious calendar.
so
A cultural calendar is simply, it goes by the sky, it goes by the nature, it goes with the earth.
Parsik is a word from Mahabharata. So it's not a Persia is also a word of Mahabharata because the Greeks could
Yeah.
not pronounce Parsik, so they say Persia. Now, in ever since Islamic revolution taken over, the exclusivity culture came in. So all the original festivals of Persia are killed in Iran today. So Iran
Yeah.
is no longer Persia. Persia was a Zoroastrian country, and Iran is now. But because they are ashamed of, because they were ruled, they were destroyed by Islam, so they call themselves Persians. But today's converted Persians, I call them Iranians. So these Iranians, they have destroyed all the old cultures and completely with a vengeance. So every single Zoroastrian temple from Armenia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and all these astanas, all these different stan they've created, all those are out. And so therefore Iran is a country of hungry people now. They want to go back to the original culture because the cultural symbols and the festivals through which the society is made, you cannot remove them. Like you said in the last talk also, you cannot erase the culture. You cannot superimpose some exclusivity. Your culture is far more heterogeneous than an ideology.
Right.
So
That heterogeneity, that is the basis of culture. It is like, it's like a forest where there will be many types of trees, there will be small plants, there will be herbs, and there will be huge trees as well, and all of them can live together, and all of them they can thrive together. It is not necessary that there has to be only one type of tree in a forest. So that's the difference between a culture and a religion, where a religion will promote only one type of tree. It will promote only one species. But culture is like nature. It it will nurture variety, and variety is the spice of life.
no, the Persians, we have many Persians hosting the event today, so it's good to talk about them. So
Mhm.
in the Persians, most of the Persians, they don't like the imposition of exclusivity. They don't like it
Yeah.
because the heterogeneity makes you more creative, alive, and also it's the nature. No two plants are the same. It's the nature. Like in California, you have lemon tree and orange tree, even though they may be same species but two different plants. And that makes us, if homogeneity was the way of the life, then everyone should just eat rice and dal day in and day out. No, we need variety, we need taste, we need flavors. And if simple things we need expect variety on our plates, then the same example extends everywhere, that we need variety everywhere. And homogeneous cultures have always, societies have always collapsed. America is successful because it is multicultural, and they accepted all kinds of
True.
people, the Hindus, Jews, Muslims, Christians, everyone contributes. And and in fact, the innovation always comes in from other cultures, not from the same. And Apple CEO
Mm.
was a Syrian Christian. uh, Steve Jobs was Syrian Christian. He's not American, Syrian American. And there are other communities out there who have excelled. Even in India, Parsi community, in a majority Hindu
Yeah,
country, they've been successful.
absolutely.
So the heterogeneity brings economic and sahishnunata, not tolerance,
Yeah.
and other things actually. So imposition of calendars is actually the destruction of the human spirit. And that will be my last point. Do you want to add anything?
Uh, I will just speak on one point,
Yes.
and that is, the celebration of a new year.
Mhm.
So, when we are looking at cultural calendars, so if it is a Chinese New Year, the way they celebrate New Year is also a cultural event. So they will have, like dances of dragons. They will celebrate the New Year with lights and cleaning up their homes and decorating their homes. So this is what we see in the Chinese culture, and the same thing we will see in the Persian culture when they celebrate Navroz, or the Mayans when they celebrated their New Year. They would spend one day, the last day of the year, to say thank you to the old year, and the next day of the new year would be celebrated with, like, welcoming the new year. And in India, the way to welcome the new year is with raising flags on our terraces and cleaning homes, decorating the main doors, and drawing rangolis. All these things. So these are cultural celebrations. When we are speaking of a cultural new year, we are speaking of cultural celebrations. But when we are looking at this Gregorian calendar and the celebration of New Year in this calendar, because it is not related to any event, I really don't get it. Or, even people don't know how to connect to a new year. What has changed other than the calendar, other than the year number? What has changed? Nothing has changed. So the way of welcoming the new year in this Gregorian calendar is a very artificial way. People will stay awake till 12 o'clock, and then they will have fireworks, and well, that's it. It doesn't get connected to the family. It doesn't get connected to the rest of the people, and it doesn't. It's not a uh, what do you say? It's not a utspurta kind of celebration. So this is what I would like to close with when we are speaking about cultural calendars and religious calendars.
Thank you very much for your time. It was an excellent discussion. I got great feedback from the audience. And for those of you who could not watch this show, do watch on YouTube and do subscribe for latest notifications. You'll get a lot of content over there. And especially for yoga studios, I think many yoga studios are joining nowadays. And for you, this is a very important aspect to teach to your students. So, namaskar and thank you.